I'm gonna just like log into Facebook and make sure it's like actually
Mhm.
broadcasting. Okay, we're good. All right. If you're watching this live, I'm here with my man Gil. Been working with him for I'd say the past 5 months or so, and he's down about 30 pounds, as y'all can see from the title. So I definitely wanted to bring him on here today to kind of talk about his experience and like maybe what he's learned, what he's struggled with, and talk more about how he's done it and how he's been able to do it while scaling his business. So Gil, thanks for hopping on here with me, man. I know you got a busy day at work, especially as you guys are moving into the new office with your business. So um, I think people will be able to relate to your story a lot. So I definitely want to hear you tell it in your own words. But why don't we start by you introducing yourself, like who you are, what your lifestyle is like, your business, that kind of thing, so that people can get an idea for like what you deal with on a day to day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So my name is you're welcome, by the way. My name is Gil Garcia. My background is, I'm a parent. So I have about 5 children at home, all 6 and under for the most part, except one. So very busy with the family. Family life to me is like number one, most important thing to me. And aside from that, I do have my own business. I do like consulting, help people with their credit. And right now I'm in the middle of a expansion with my business. So I just moved to a new office, hiring like in home, well, in office sales staff. And we're still kind of going through hiring now and getting more people. But my day is pretty much never ends. Like I get up really early, working like as soon as I get up. Go home. I try to stop when I go home, but sometimes I have to, work on something before going to bed. So I'm normally like nonstop all day long. So that's kind of how my day usually goes. And then, I did join your program about 5 months ago, and yeah, so been 5 months. Now down 30 pounds, and I'm still gonna go, still going. My goal is to be like the fittest I've ever been. So I want to get down to, to see what my ideal weight, is gonna be. But definitely, at least another 30 pounds. And from there I'll kind of like gauge where, where I'll end up.
Okay, and I appreciate you clearing that up because you got 5 kids. First of all, that's a lot of work there. That's a full-time
Yeah.
job in and of itself. And not only that, but you talked about moving into the new office and scaling your business. So why don't you take us back to the beginning? Like 5 months ago, we reconnected a little bit when we decided to work together. Like, where were you at with your fitness levels, with your energy levels, and just talk to us about that? Because I know when we first spoke, I don't know if you remember this conversation, but I do. And it was like, hey, I think work's going to slow down. I'm getting ready to scale and I need to get to the next level with my personal growth so I can have the capacity to scale my business. And I think you thought things were going to slow down for you and it was the complete opposite. So I'm sure there's a lot you could say to that point, but I just wanted to hear your perspective. Like, where were you when we started in terms of your fitness and like that kind of thing?
Yeah, so when I first started speaking to you, when I was right about the point when I joined the program, I kind of had everything kind of dialed in terms of like my business at that point. I didn't have like now I have a partner. I didn't have anyone. It was just kind of still me by myself and virtual assistants I have. So at that point, I was like, okay, you know what? The virtual assistants were really kind of freeing me up now to be able to start working on me because I do a lot of branding for myself for my business. That's how I drive most of my leads. So for me, it's important to like not just help my clients, but also help myself because that's going to help me also brand the business, show like, the commitment I have to my clients by showing like, by leading by example. So I was kind of my time kind of had opened up initially, but then as I started kind of, moving along, more opportunities opened up. I jumped on them, like, I saw a bigger opportunity. So then I got with the partner. That's how we kind of got to the expansion to where I'm at now is just by, partnering up with someone else, seeing that there was potential for more. So I ended up being more busy again, kind of back to where I was initially. But I had already started the program with you, and at that point, I committed to it because branding for me is huge, and it's been paying off like big time. Like first of all, like the image, like when I started with you, the videos to where they look, and now that I've gone down 30 pounds, definitely feel more happy about how I look in the videos, and excited for like the next 3 or 4 months. So yeah, I got more busier, but even with the busy schedule, I'm still able to do the workouts. I fit them in. Sometimes a little bit of a struggle, but for the most part, can do the workouts every day or every week. It's about 3 workouts. So yeah, pretty happy with just being able to commit. Most of it I have to say has to do with you. With the coaching, the feedback, with the calls we do. It helps a lot, like with like understanding, what I'm doing. before that, I know what I was doing like for the longest time. Even before like I decided to join your program, I had tried on my own, to try to do my own things. I didn't understand 100% what I was doing, but nothing ever worked because I didn't understand. Like for me, coaching has been huge and mentorship. Even for my business, like I have my own mentors as well, and then being in your program has really helped me kind of understand things or see things at least in a way I didn't see before.
Yeah, it's just like having a second perspective or a bird's eye view as opposed to like, hey, let me go get an accountability buddy at the office. And, it's not really their job. So they're kind of just half in, half out. So, no, I hear you on that. And I believe the same thing. Like I have business coaches and we always go back and forth with ideas about that stuff too. So that's cool distinction there. A couple things stood out. Yeah, I think you thought things were going to free up in terms of your schedule before. And then, they didn't. You got busier, but you had already committed and you said, fuck it, I guess I got to do it now. So then we decided, hey, I'm going to double down and do what I have to do and still see results. Because I think a lot of people in that situation would have said, you know what, things are too busy right now, and they would back out on the commitment, right? So just goes to show how serious you were about making this happen. And lost my train of thought. The other thing is, the down 30 pounds thing. We always make this joke on the calls too of like, you post content almost on a daily basis, if not a daily basis. And, sometimes you run out of ideas or you didn't get the batch of content and you'll repost an old video because you never know what new audience members are coming into your page and haven't seen it, or even people in your current audience who haven't seen your old stuff. Like sometimes it's good to repost things, especially if it's a post that is done well engagement wise. But we kind of joke now, like, damn, your face has leaned out so much since then. You can't even use those old videos because people are going to notice the difference. It's like, it's not going to look very current. So I think that's a cool thing there. But I guess with all that said, I appreciate you just kind of clearing up the background. Where, how did you find me? And would you say that you were skeptical of getting started? And like, ultimately, what made you decide to get started with me, man? Because I think we've been friends for a few years. We kind of talked here and there, happy birthday kind of stuff, seeing each other's content. But I guess what happened where you decided to take that leap?
So I'm very huge like mentorships. I turned like a corner in my perspective of like what mentorships are and the value that they bring. So I started working with some mentors in business first a few years back, and I started seeing like the impact it did on my business. And like I said, we were friends for a while. One of the things that stood out from you is your consistency. I always saw like, you're always, from the time I initially like saw you till recently, I kept seeing you posting. I kept seeing your content, your commitment to your business, and that for me is huge. And I saw that, and it really attracted me to reach out to you. Like I said, at the time, I had slowed down a little bit. So I was like, you know what, I'm ready. I want to work on me now. I haven't had time in years to really just focus on me. And so that kind of is what led to it. What attracted me to you was like, I just saw your commitment to your business. I saw you, still there. One of the biggest things of business is people like committing and being reliable. People sometimes have a business, they may disappear and not be, available. Sorry about that. Let me just see if I can get that turned off here. Yeah, they may not be available, or they still plain out just straight up disappear. And so I saw that about you, it really attracted me. And thinking the way I think now, I know like there's a lot of value in that because there's not many people who are like that.
Yeah, no, I think we had this discussion when we first started. It's like, I'm sure you could say the same exact thing in your business. I've seen a lot of credit repair guys on my timeline. And by the way, I meant to say this in the beginning. If you guys ever need any help repairing your credit, Gil's able to do some amazing things with that. Please reach out to him. I'll tag him in this post. So if you guys want to click on his page and check him out, he posts on a daily basis. Like he does good work. I've seen some of the stuff he's done. So if you guys need help with that, I'm sure you can speak more to that than I can, obviously. So you can qualify for different loans and all that kind of stuff. Wait, somebody entering the chat? Who is this? Somebody's trying to get on here. Somebody's trying to enter the waiting room. I'm just
really?
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a Zoom bomber. Sometimes the Zoom bombers will come in and just blow your Zoom up. Anyway, you guys need help with that, so you can qualify for different things, different business opportunities. Gil will be able to help you with that. But to my point, or to your point, actually, yeah, sometimes it's about just outlasting people because I've been in the coaching space for some years now, and it's like I've been in specific mentorship programs where like guys are doing what I'm doing, and because they have a bad month or something doesn't go their way, they'll be there for 3 to 6 months and then you never hear from them again. And it's just like I've had those same bad months. It's just about like, all right, how are you going to respond to that? Are you going to be consistent after that? And I'm sure you could attest to that as well. So I think you just recognize that initially. But more to specifically why you got started, less to do with me and more to do with like where you were at mentally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean by like you wanted to work on yourself? Because I remember you telling me before how you wanted to get ready for this next chapter of your life. You're like, all right, I'm the solopreneur now. Everything is kind of systemized how I want it. I'm ready to grow and I'm ready to scale. And it's been cool for me to kind of watch that happen. Because I remember you in the other office, it was just you doing everything. Now, 4 or 5 months later, you've got a team, you've got a sales guy, you've got a brand new office you close on. It's like things are scaling at a very quick rate. So why don't you go ahead and talk to them about like what that meant for you to expand yourself to be able to make that happen, or like work on
Yeah.
yourself for that to be
Yeah,
possible.
I guess the mentality was I just I've always wanted to like brand myself eventually because I saw the value in social media and branding for my business. And part of that is your image, right? Like you'll feel more comfortable when you film yourself if you look a certain way. Definitely was one of the factors in it. I mean, I felt okay doing the videos, but I felt like if I can show my story, not just with the credit part, but also like how, having more freedom, having more time for yourself, and how you can invest in yourself, how it would impact, all aspects of your life, not just, personally, but business wise too. And for me, that was like really huge because, I'm all about like, I'm showing my story, showing like anyone that not only struggling financially, but maybe kind of is in a similar situation where they're very busy or have a family and maybe think that, they don't have time or it's not possible, which I don't believe like, anything is ever written off like that. So I always believe there was a way of doing that. I felt I needed the right support, and I saw you, and I felt you were the right support that I needed.
I appreciate you saying that, man. So yeah, that's all good stuff there. It's just like having the capacity to, handle things with your family, handle things at work. And man, you're like a great example of somebody who is busy and has all the reasons to like, pardon my language, but bitch out on your commitments, but like you haven't, right? Like 5 kids, fiance, business that's scaling that leaves you no time for anything else because you're probably working longer days than you thought you would, and maybe even longer days now because you're trying to systemize and scale everything than you were before when you were doing everything on your own. Like it's crazy how it works. So we've obviously had our struggles here and there, but you've been consistent overall. So what would you say that you've learned just going through, I guess, the program so far? Maybe learned about yourself, learned about fitness, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, honestly, like, and I think I've heard some other clients say the same thing, but it's so true. Like, you don't really understand it until you go through it. Like, you don't have to go and kill yourself. Like, I felt initially I had to be like, I gotta work out like very intense every week to meet my goals, and I gotta maintain it. What really surprised me was like it really just comes down to consistency and understanding like what not to do. And it's like a lot easier. I'm like working a lot less than I thought I was. And I used to put a lot more work into like, trying to do cardio or trying to do some kind of like program that I thought would help me, reach my goal. And it wouldn't really like lead to anything really like long term. And I'm like, well, maybe I don't have it in me, or maybe I'm much older now. And I'm not like in my teens or early 20s. But yeah, just being like, understanding that it's just consistency of understanding what to do. It's been like, it's almost like almost unbelievable to believe like that I got down 30 pounds in a few months, and that in less than a year I might get to my whole goal and be like the fittest I've ever been. So that's been like mind boggling. I don't even like believe it sometimes.
Yeah, that's crazy. A couple things, man. Like just the fact that you can turn it around in a year, like you saying, hey, I'll be at my new low or my goal in a year. It's like, how many years have we put this off thinking it would be this big, daunting task? And it's like, oh, all I needed was a year and I can do it while I'm busy. It's not so bad. But yeah, to your point, I'd rather have like intent. Don't get me wrong. Intensity is a good thing, especially if you can sustain it. Sustained intensity is going to be the best, right? You're going to get the most done in the shortest amount of time. But if I had to choose, I'd rather take consistency over intensity. Because what do guys do? And you've probably done this before too, based off what you said. Yeah, they go hard for a week. They don't do shit for the whole year. Then they decide, hey, I'm motivated now. It's January 1st. I'm going to sign up for the gym. I'm going to go 6 days a week. I'm going to do 2 hours. I'm going to do some cardio after. I'm going to cut all my carbs. I'm going to cut out drinking. I'm going to cut out my favorite foods. And then 2 weeks later, back where we started. Or you're sore the first week because you just did too much too soon. And I would say that's a mindset that resonates a lot with entrepreneurs, sales pros, and guys with an athletic background, because that's just all they know, right? That's how they were taught to do things. And I know you're probably all three of those things.
Yeah.
So you had the soccer background. I know you're really big into fighting and stuff too. So would you say that there's any parallels there with that mentality, or having to like unlearn that
Yeah,
being
yeah,
sustainable?
100%. Like it's just understanding like it's just consistency. You don't have to do like a ridiculous amount. You just got to do it like often and commit to it. You can't just do it for a certain amount and stop. Yeah, it's just like honestly, it takes work. Don't get me wrong, but it's not really that difficult when you really like get into the flow. Initially, you're gonna get a little bit sore, but once your body gets a little bit used to it, it's just been some repeating. For me, it's been time. Like I just sometimes might just get too busy, but it's not the actual work itself.
Right, right. Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, and once you know what to focus on,
Yeah.
like, okay, let's say you only have an hour a day to dedicate to this. You want to make sure that hour is being spent on
Mhm.
on the highest leverage activities, just like in your business. You don't want to be doing admin work when you can outsource that. When you're
Mhm.
as the CEO, as the vision, there's things that you're going to do that are going to bring your company more revenue. It's the same thing here, man. All right, these are the only 3 or 4 things I got to focus on with my hour a day. Yeah, I'm gonna do that and get better results if I can do them consistently, as opposed to killing yourself, spreading yourself so thin, adding more stuff to your plate that doesn't matter. So I think that's a good distinction there with the consistency. So I guess in terms of results, mentally, emotionally, physically, in terms of your fitness, like where would you say you're at now, 5 months later from where you started?
So I play soccer, like you say. I play every Sunday. Like man, like now I'm like, so this last week we were playing. We had some like young kids, like probably not much older than 20, like very good kids came in playing, and like no one, and we have like, people of all ages playing with us, but like no one was able to like compete with them, and I was like the only one. And I really attribute that to like, me being in this program, me being consistent like every day. And I used to run a lot more than before, like when before I joined the program. Now I don't even run. It's just being consistent with the exercises you give me. And like I'm like running better, more cardio, feel better. I used to be sore. I always mentioned too, I used to be sore every single Monday from soccer, not ever sore again. And it's crazy. Like that's been like the craziest part too, is like I don't get sore anymore. And I'm doing a lot more than before. And I used to always be sore on Mondays. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and I know that was like one of your big goals when we started. Like, hey, I just want to be able to play soccer on Sundays, not
Yep.
just like I think things are more enjoyable when you're good at them. So it's like now that this is not a barrier anymore, you can enjoy a sport that you're good at, and you that's going to cause you to enjoy it more. So I love that for you, obviously, and I think what you said is interesting too, because we're not really doing a ton of we're not actually not doing any soccer specific work. Like it's not like we're training like how you would if you were playing soccer at a semi-pro, professional level, high school, college, whatever. We're not doing a bunch of soccer drills and stuff like that, but you're still saying this stuff has kind of prepared you for that. And I think that's more of just like a general fitness level, like just getting stronger in certain movements, getting more condition in the weight room, and getting the weight down, eating better. Those things are going to help you on the field. And I remember bringing it up to you a month ago. I'm like, hey, when we're ready for it and we got more time, or we decide we want to dedicate a little bit more effort and intention towards soccer, maybe we could start doing some drills that are more aligned with that sport to kind of help you even more. But this is all just general fitness stuff. Like, all right, just being in the weight room, 30 minutes of working out at home too with limited equipment, 30 minutes a day, a few times a week. That's been able to help you. So I'm glad to hear that, man.
Yeah, and to that point, I've done everything at home. Like I know I've been trying to get to the gym, and I will eventually, but I've done everything at home. So even if you're busy, you can still do it. Like you tailor the right exercise so you can do it at home if you have the right equipment. And like so, like that's helped me a lot too. And then just to add a little bit to that too, like I haven't mentioned to you yet, I'm actually like, now I'm like getting, obviously more fitter than before. I'm actually going to probably be coaching like the girls soccer team at my daughter's school. Like an opportunity came up before. I probably would have said no because I probably wouldn't have felt confident enough. I'm like, well, how am I going to coach if I'm not like, coaching myself in a sense? So yeah, dude, I'm probably gonna end up doing that now. Like maybe next week is like the
Oh, sure.
trial I'll be holding. So yeah, I mean like just more confidence overall in everything.
Okay, confidence is a big thing, man. And I think that feeling of and I always say confidence is built by just being who you say you are, keeping your commitments to yourself. So I'm sure it feels great to be aligned. Like, look, I'm coaching these girls to play soccer. Not only do I like the way I look better, right? That's obviously a big part of it, looking the part, but it's like, yo, I play this every week. I work out, I train for this every week. Like, of course I can help you guys. It's just that confidence. So but yeah, we didn't even talk about that. That's amazing. Glad to hear that. And that gives you more quality time with the kids, which I know, back to your main point, family being one of your main values, even probably over the business. So that's awesome. That's good stuff there. Now, what would you say your diet's like now? Because I think this is interesting, because I know you probably had a bunch of beliefs around how you should be eating for your for your fitness? And I know a lot of guys out there, oh, should I be cutting my carbs? Is it no carbs after 6? Is protein good? Like all these myths out there. How would you describe your diet now? Maybe give an example, or like, were there any myths that you had to unlearn, so to speak? Like, how is the diet going for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have like before I had a general sense of like, what's good, what's healthy. Obviously I wasn't dialed in like I am now. But I felt like if I had to go on like on a right diet to meet like my goals, I would have to cut out like everything, like, anything that I thought was bad. That's not like actually the case though. Like I still eat, I can pretty much eat anything. I just have to, moderate what I'm eating, making sure I'm eating the right amounts if I'm going to be eating it. But yeah, I mean, I still like yesterday I had, some Cheetos, hot Cheetos, and I still dropped weight, when I weighed this morning. So it's just a matter of understanding what to eat. And like you break it all down, you help out with that. Like you explain like what's in what type of foods, that you don't have to feel like you can't eat the things you like. You just have to understand like what it entails and like what you need to eat to, balance it out.
I think that's a big point too, because it's like, just for clarification, you had some Cheetos. You're not
Yeah.
eating a whole family size bag by
Right.
yourself, right? Like that'd be too
Right.
much. That's all things in moderation. But I think the big thing is, you eat clean most of the time. I've seen what you log. We talk about it every week, but I think the big thing is just not having this black and white good or bad label on things, because some guys will eat the Cheetos and be like, oh damn, I messed up my diet. So now
Yeah.
they go off the rails because they're like, I need a blank slate next week. Oh man, I messed up the day already. But I think the biggest thing is like you being able to have the Cheetos, but do it guilt-free because you know it fits within the framework of your plan. Like, oh, I'm having these Cheetos and I'm still following my plan, if that makes sense. Doesn't mean that's all you're eating, obviously. Like, but there's give and take there. So no, that's good to clear up, because I think people need examples sometimes. Like people's vision of what
Mhm.
nutrition looks like ends up being a lot different than what it could look like in reality for a sustainable, I guess, fitness or health transformation, whatever you want to call it. So what would I guess this question could be taken two ways, and I'm probably going to be putting you on the spot a little bit here, but like, what advice would you give to like maybe the 5 months ago version of Gil, or somebody else who's maybe in your shoes 5 months ago, somebody who's busy as hell with their kids and their wife, family, whatever the case is. They want to make time for their fitness, but they can't, or they feel like they can't, or maybe they got a busy full-time job at 60 hours a week, or they're scaling a business like yourself, or they're grinding it out. Like, what advice would you give for somebody in that position who wants to take control of their fitness right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think like, for me, what's helped me the most has been like mindset. You know, anything is possible. You just got to have the right mindset, the right mentors. And for me, like someone who maybe is kind of like doesn't know like, if they have the time or if it's going to work for them. I mean, like you mentioned, I was doing this I was for years, it's been like over 10 years that I haven't had like this kind of progress and like my personal health. And I just thought, well, I'm already past that age and I'm never gonna have that shot, or I just don't have the time. Like I'm just a family man, it's my priority. But like, yeah, I mean, like anything is possible. Now with like the online space, online coaching. Again, I did everything at home. I mean, I know I want to get to the gym soon, but I was able to do all this at home. So I would tell like, people like, anything is possible. You just gotta find the right person. You gotta have the right mentality, but you definitely like I never thought, like I said, I'm kind of shocked still till today, like what's going on. It is definitely possible. You just gotta, like I said, get with the right person is number one. It's what worked for me in my business too. Gotta find the right mentors and then understand like you have to like take the first steps. You can't always just, not do anything and things are not going to change. You have to actually, be proactive and take the first step and then things just kind of domino effect from that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what you said is interesting for a couple of reasons too, because it's like, I think people, especially when they get started in this new journey and they're doing it a different way, part of you is like excited, like, oh, this is a different way of doing things. The sky's the limit. Like you're kind of fantasizing about your results, like as you do in the beginning. But then, part of you may be scared, like, oh shit, what did I just get myself into? Is this going to work? Is this going to be like the other times? And I think it's pretty cool that you're saying you're surprised yourself, because it's like, sometimes people are really just not confident in the beginning because they don't have evidence of that same success. But then as you get going, as you get closer to your goal, you start to realize, oh, this is tangible. Like maybe you didn't believe in yourself 100% in the beginning, but you were committed to figuring it out. And as you get closer to the goal, you're down 10, 20 pounds, 30 pounds. Now you're like, oh shit, this is definitely possible within a year. Like, let me put my foot on the gas even more. It's like you're even more bought in later into the process because you realize how possible it is. because you have the evidence, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So I love that for you. And the other thing I think is interesting is like, you didn't use this exact word, but that's how I heard it. It's like it's almost like aligning with certain social archetypes. Like, oh, I'm a family man now. So what do
Yeah.
family men do? We don't have time for our health because
Yep.
we're so busy being noble for the family, providing, spending time with them. And it becomes like the scapegoat. Or age. You said, oh, once you get past a certain age, oh, I guess your metabolism slows down. Oh, it's all downhill after 30, after 40,
Yeah.
after 50, whatever it is. And it's like, that doesn't have to be true. It's just, it's easy to fall into that though, because that's what your coworkers are saying. That's what other dads in the neighborhood are saying. These, people you talk to every day, that's kind of the narrative they feed. It's just, we don't have to align with these archetypes. We can just be the dad. We could be the family man, but see how this kind of helps us be the best versions of those things instead of aligning with a certain archetype, if that makes sense too. So no, I love the advice, man. Just believing in yourself, obviously, and just being committed, because none of this would have worked out. Like, I can do whatever, but it's like, if you weren't committed to figuring this out yourself, it wouldn't have worked. So having the right mentality, having the right mentors, and just being fully committed is great advice. So we can call it there, because I know you got to get back to work too. Gil, I appreciate you hopping on, taking the time out your day, man. I know you're slammed with meetings all day, so I want to respect your time as well. Once again, man, if anybody watching this to the end, whether it's the replay or live, please reach out to Gil if you need any help or assistance with your improving your credit score. Now, obviously, he's the man at that. And you don't even have to hear it from me saying it. He posts his testimonials all the time on the stories. And if you want to follow him on social media, I'll link his stuff in this. I'll tag him because he posts content every day. He's not like these guys just posting, asking for business every day. He's actually posting valuable content, so you can kind of learn and see how credible he is based off that. So that's the one difference I see with him and a lot of guys I see out there doing the same type of work. So Gil, thanks again for hopping on with you, man. And I'm gonna go ahead and end this here.
I appreciate. Just want to say one last thing.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, like everything. I know you don't take enough credit for it, but I believe like I wouldn't have the same success if I wasn't working with you. So I attribute my success. Obviously, I'm motivated, but you also need that support, and you've been like above and beyond with support.
Appreciate it, man. You're gonna have me crying on this live, but no, we've had this conversation too. Like, it is about like the right fit, right? Like the right philosophy, the right chemistry or personality types meshing or whatever, because we've both had our little conversations about, we've been a part of mentorships before where you pay a lot of money and it's like, yeah, I'm not really feeling this. I don't like the guy running it, or I don't like the coaches, or, you don't get along, you feel like they don't care, they're just not personable, or whatever the case is. So I'm glad you feel that way and you see the value. And likewise, man, you're a very easy guy to work with. You take direction as well. You just do what's asked of you. You don't make excuses, even when shit is busy for you. And that's why we are where we are, man. So let's keep our foot on the gas here.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. All right, let me